Hey there, I'm Johnny Mack with your daily comedy news. We've had a little run of what I'm describing as angry comedy articles, and I've had fun sharing them. Here's another one from Pajiba. Shane Gillis blamed Gen Z for him bombing his SNL monologue. Andrew Sanford writes, "You don't tell people you're performing for that you lost them, nor do you start making excuses if you do. The great and powerful Conan O'Brien talks about that all the time. He's mentioned that during his years as a talk show host, any time a guest would turn to the audience and say something to the effect of, 'This isn't going well,' or 'I lost you guys,' it would signal the interview's death. Even if you think things aren't going well, you lead with confidence. You don't start blaming the audience." That doesn't strictly apply to being a late-night talk show guest either. I was part of the New York City stand-up scene for a bit, and while that didn't end up working out, I've seen a lot of bad stand-up. More often than not, when a comedian starts blaming the crowd for their poor performance, it makes things a million times worse. I've seen comedians whose whole act consists of intermittently telling the audience, "I guess that was too much for you guys," or "Everyone here is so sensitive tonight, it's bad form." I do agree with that. That is a good point, but we'll get to the Shane Gillis part. Shane performed a monologue about Trump wanting to buy Greenland and how white guys want to know if their girlfriends have slept with a black guy. Surprise, it did not go over well. He then pivoted to a joke about the Civil War, and by that point, the crowd was pretty checked out. He even commits the cardinal sin and jokes about losing the crowd, even when he hasn't fully lost them yet. It was bad. To be even slightly fair, of course, a likely mostly liberal New York City crowd wasn't going to go for Gillis' shtick, but he should know that. He should pivot. You don't have to change who you are. Just tell more jokes, and that may work where you are, but Gillis doesn't take the blame for any of that. As he explained on a recent episode of Smartless, it's the young people's fault he didn't do well. But it was not Shane Gillis' fault, you guys. So much just hate of Shane Gillis. I don't get it. I think he's funny. He's got a goofy smile that telegraphs that he's just, a guy shucking jokes. Let's just have a good time. Tig Notaro will headline the 2025 Eureka Springs Pride Festival coming up on June 14th. That's next Saturday already. Ticket prices caught my eye, $68.50 to $164.50. There's also VIP meet and greet tickets in case the $164.50 wasn't enough for you. The BBC, for some reason, did a travel guide to L.A. with OCO AT TKA. Somebody in London's like, I want to go to L.A. I wonder what OCO has to say. The part that catches my eye is about the comedy clubs. OCO says the comedy scene in L.A. is pretty diverse. We have everything for you. She suggests dipping your toes into the scene by visiting theaters. It's a little more artful than a comedy club. The Elysian Theater is her recommendation. Meanwhile, Largo is her go-to for music enthusiasts. If you like seeing musicians or you just like seeing celebrities trying out their new jokes for the first time, then Largo's a great place for that. Musicians join the lineup so you can be watching stand-up comedy the same night Beck is doing a set. She also recommends places you've heard of, like the Comedy Store and Hollywood Improv. As for the Comedy Store, it has a pretty diverse lineup, and the audience is true comedy lovers. Meanwhile, at the Hollywood Improv, A-list lineups are the norm. She says the Comedy Store and Hollywood Improv are two places I perform at a lot. Those are places I really feel at home. I love that the place I'm working at feels like a second home. Rob Riggle will have a memoir out this fall. It's called Grit, Spit, and Never Quit, A Marine's Guide to Comedy and Life. I worked with Riggle a few times, really enjoyed his company. Just like a cool guy, you know what I mean? Riggle tells People magazine, I hope people will be able to identify some of what I went through, and it will be of service to them on their own journey. The book tells stories from his 23 years in the Marines, plus his time in movies and TV. Rob says, I like to think of it as a motivational memoir. I hope people will be able to identify with some of what I went through, and it would be of service to them on their own journey. Riggle retired from the military in 2013 as a lieutenant colonel. That's no joke. He says, they pushed me beyond my perceived limits, so whatever I thought I was capable of, the Marine said, actually, you can do a whole lot more when pushed. And they were right, and it opened up my mind a lot, too. If I could do that, maybe I can do this. And I started to actually believe in myself and say, you know what? I'm going to bet on myself. And so that's when I finally got the courage to go for it with regard to comedy and acting. So I give the Marine Corps especially a lot of credit for that. Riggle learned the hard way. You need to embrace the suck and never give up if you want to get anywhere in life. The description concludes with, he's jumped out of planes and he's become one of the most recognizable comedians in the country. But at his core, Rob is a regular guy from Kansas with grit, spit, and the will to never quit. The Boston Globe asked Kamau Bell, is it harder to ridicule Trump now than it was during his first term? Kamau said, you can still make fun of him. I joked that my New Year's resolution was to be more petty. Bell says the president is still surrounded by bumbling fools, but they're bumbling fools that could turn us into North Korea West. That's not a joke. The reason you make fun of it is so we don't give all our power away to them. The more we can look them in the eye, gives you the juice to figure out a way to go there and hopefully save the country. Send your letters to W. Kamau Bell. Brad Williams spoke to KEYT. Brad was born with achondroplasia. The primary feature of that is dwarfism. Brad found himself bullied at a young age and says his dad equipped him to handle it. Brad told KEYT he and I would write comebacks together, would write retorts to common things he thought kids might say, and it was so great because when it happened, I wasn't hurt by it, I wasn't shocked with it, I was just trained for this. Most of it isn't based in cruelty, most of it's based in ignorance, like a lot of discriminatory practices. A lot of people that don't like and don't accept certain types of people just haven't been exposed to those types of people. It's the first thing a lot of people notice. Sometimes people come up to me after a show and go, "Hey man, thanks for talking about disability and difference. I get it." As for comedy, it's a positive effect on mental health for me personally because that's my therapy. That's how I get it out. And just to laugh, you're releasing these joy chemicals in your brain, serotonin and dopamine. You feel good about yourself. And if you have a physical ailment like a sore leg, a bruised arm, and you go laugh a lot, you'll notice, hey, I'm not hurting right now. Jim Jeffries was talking about the iconic line from Paul Hogan's Crocodile Dundee. You know, that's not a knife, that's a knife, that one. Jim said, that famous and iconic line by Hogan, to me, is really what we're all about. There's a little bit of that Hogan line in all of us. I feel it when I travel and land at airports. Filling out the customs form where it says occupation, I get to write comedian. How cool is that? You get to the desk and the guy behind it says, "So, you're a comedian, are you?" And they want you to tell a joke. But I'm like, if you had just told 14-year-old me that one day I'd be writing comedian on my customs form, what a blessing. Jim said there were world-class comedians who rarely got to perform outside of Australia because it was too much of a hassle. It takes all those years to conquer Australia, so why would you bother going to another country? These in the days before, say, streaming platforms. I just consider myself a lucky man who got a few opportunities. I had a lot of luck in my career, and I took advantage of it. He has a small role in the Jordan Peele sports horror film Him, which will be out in September. Jim says, it's a couple of scenes. I haven't seen the movie yet, but when we were making it, I knew it was going to be awesome, and the trailer for it was killer. The film is about American football, so it'll come out once the NFL season begins. But stand-up will always remain my first job. It allows me to control my destiny and pick where I get to go. CBS announced what's taking over the Taylor Tomlinson 12:37 slot, and it is Comics Unleashed with Byron Allen. Comics Unleashed had aired in that time slot, filling the 4-month gap between the end of Corden's show and the premiere of After Midnight. CBS will air 2 episodes of Comics Unleashed back-to-back each night. In 2023, the run on CBS consisted of reruns and never-before-seen episodes, all of which were shot prior to 2023. The belief in the trades and on social media is that these will be older episodes as well, so don't get too excited about Comics Unleashed. Hasan Minhaj, during that Hollywood Reporter Comics Roundtable I've been picking away at, talked about, remember when we thought he was going to get The Daily Show and then didn't because people looked at his comedy special? Remember that happened? Hasan said, yeah, I had to go through a comedy audit by TurboTax, which is its own thing. Make sure you file, everybody. Bring your receipts. But also, there's a critique aspect to it that's very new. One of the first jokes that came to me was when I called a buddy and I was like, how bad is it? And he was like, the article's bad, but the photos are good. I was like, that's hilarious. It's also very funny to fail so bad that you bring back Jon Stewart. And that is your comedy news for today. If you enjoyed the program, please tell a friend about it. They might like it too. If you would like the program without commercial interruption, if you're on Apple Podcasts, click that banner that says uninterrupted listening. If you're not on Apple Podcasts, go to calaroga.com/plus. Link in the show notes. Short version, $5 a month. You get the show ad-free and feed drop free, and it's a great way to support the show. I appreciate you all. See you tomorrow.